People ask me constantly this one question. What are your favorite books, Aya? What are your book recommendations? People want to know what I read, what I have read, what I've been reading. So consider this the answer to your question, at least the partial answer to your question. I'm going to share some of my favorite self-improvement books of all time, what I consider to be the best self-improvement books of all time. Since this is a self-improvement channel, I'll try to keep in that vein and share some of my favorite self-improvement books. If this is something that you guys like, I will continue to make videos and kind of book reviews and recommendations as I continue to read new books in my own life. So hopefully this is something that you will enjoy and want to see more of in the future. But without further ado, well, actually one little step, a little bit of an ado, please make sure to like the channel. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can get brand new videos the moment that they come out. Make sure to do that because it is the way that you will continue to see videos like this. Okay, let's jump into the list. The first book is called Antifragile by Nassim Taleb. Now, this isn't a traditional self-improvement book, but I consider it a self-improvement book because of the benefits it has directly caused in my life. Antifragility, it's a series of books. It's one of the books in a series of books, called The Inserto by the author Nassim Taleb. So Nassim Taleb is an options trader, which is just basically a form of trading stocks, right? And he talks about probability in all areas of life. It's pretty difficult for me to summarize everything that you can find in the book Antifragile and what you can find in the series, but I'll kind of explain some of the key concepts that really changed my life. One is the concept of antifragility, and what antifragility essentially means is you want to construct your life in a way where you are gaining and benefiting from volatility and disorder. So the opposite of fragility is creating a system to where if one teeny tiny little thing goes wrong, the whole system collapses. So examples of this could be doing bogus things in the stock market to prop it up, and then when the collapse happens really hard. You know what happened in the housing market? It was a fragile system. People who get into a bunch of debt, and the minute that they lose their job or something goes wrong economically, the whole system collapses. That is a fragile system. So you want to build an anti-fragile system where as things kind of shift and move around, your life still benefits. So for me, I have wild up and down swings in my income, but it's anti-fragile because when a form of randomness happens, say an article of mine gets picked up and blows up and I make a bunch of money, or some press mentions my book and it blows up and I make a bunch of money, and kind of the more that I even put content out there, content that people both agree with and disagree with, kind of chaotic, the more that I'm out there, the more anti-fragile I become. As my name bounces around and gets quote unquote more chaotic, I can benefit. And a really important idea I learned from the book is the idea of convexity. And the way to live a successful life is to search for convex opportunities. And convex opportunities simply mean things that have a low downside and an extremely high upside. So I use this example over and over. Writing a book has a low downside. I know how much it's going to cost to produce the book. If the book takes off, it has massive upside. But if it totally flops, I know what the outcome is going to be. Same thing with internet business. Everything that I do online, from content creation, writing books, shooting videos, creating podcasts in the future, all the downside is known, and the capital requirements really aren't all that much to run a business. So this year, the business has done like 6 figures, but in terms of what it takes to actually run the business, it's pretty much about a little over $1,000, I'd say, that I spend on equipment and software and website hosting, things like that. Is a very low capital requirement, high margin business. So downside is low, upside is very high. You want to search for convexity. But I could spend an hour-long video talking about everything useful in the book. It's always the number one book I recommend people read if they ask me for any book recommendations. So check out Antifragile by Nassim Taleb. The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. This is the creative Bible. It's for people who you have that spark. You want to be a creator. You want to start a business. In the book, he talks about basically the book is for anyone who wants to achieve any long-term goal that requires delayed gratification, and it's all about defeating the resistance. And he's popular for this term, the resistance, which kind of takes the idea of self-doubt and makes it really insidious instead of thinking of it as benign. Like, self-doubt can ruin your entire life. Self-doubt, this resistance, it's an evil force that destroys dreams, destroys careers, destroys your life because you are robbed of your purpose because you let your self-doubts, you let what other people think, you let societal narratives enter into your mind through this resistance. And this resistance is this fluid enemy that'll take any form it needs to crush your dreams. And that's why it's so hard to fight the resistance, because the resistance doesn't have anything against you personally. Its mission is just to blindly destroy everyone's life, and it will do whatever it has to in order to accomplish that. It will get inside your head, give you doubts, make you feel imposter syndrome. It will take the form of friends, family, and peers who are concerned about you and don't want you to take risks and who will tell you to be realistic. It'll take the form of the media narrative telling you that there's no such thing as upward mobility, that you should feel oppressed and helpless. The resistance takes form of saying things to yourself like, eventually I'll get it done. Maybe someday when things really click, when I get my ducks in a row. All that is resistance. Anything that moves you further away from your goals is resistance. And in the book, he mentions the antidote to resistance as simply doing the work. Getting your butt in the chair and writing defeats the resistance. Putting out your videos defeats the resistance. Pitching clients and landing customers defeats the resistance. Going to the gym defeats the resistance. Doing the thing that's hard is the only antidote to your self-doubt. And this is something we all sort of know, but the book, it just has extremely, kind of probably the most powerful self-improvement prose that you'll ever read. And just by pure kind of sheer force of will through the writing, you will feel more motivated and you will be better equipped to conquer the resistance, aka your self-doubt. The One Thing. This is really one of the first books that helped me learn a ton about how to properly set goals. So the One Thing strategy is very simple, and it's all about gaining momentum. And there's one little anecdote in there that I especially love, and it basically talks about the fact that if you were to take a domino that's about yay big and then put another domino that's like 1.5 times taller than it right next to it, and then put another one that's 1.5 times taller, and you kept doing that, the 52nd domino would reach the moon. And all you would have to do is flick that teeny tiny little initial domino, and it would knock all of them over due to the power of momentum, including the one that is as tall as the moon. And the One Thing uses that anecdote as a metaphor for life itself. You have to do one thing at a time to be successful. You line up your dominoes small, and then they get bigger over time. I talk about this compound exponential growth model all the time. Where do you think I got this idea from? Where do you think I get all these ideas from? In these books. So when my channel started, it had 0 followers. The first domino in creating the channel was creating the first video. Next domino was creating a couple more. Bigger sized dominoes was kind of learning how to optimize and promote the videos and do better quality videos and get a new camera. So you figure out one thing at a time. My initial writing career started with writing 1 blog post. Then I wrote 2, 3, 4, a dozen. Then I learned how to tweak the writing and focus on different things. Then I had little mini projects that I wanted to accomplish. Writing a book, putting together a second book, third book, putting together products. You have different things, And the one thing philosophy is always, what is the one thing that I can do right now such that it will make everything else easier? I'll link to another video where I talked about productivity hacks, and one of them was figuring out the things that move the needle, finding the 80-20 or the 99-1 ratio in your life. And if you're able to do that, you can have disproportionate rewards in your life. Contrary to popular belief, I don't work that hard at all. I just do a couple things really, really well. I can write a damn good blog post. I can communicate fairly well. I can do decent videos, create decent... I don't do a ton, but I get a few things right. I wake up every morning, I get the one thing right. I basically get a blog post out every single day. And that one thing strategy applies to every kind of time period in your life. What's the one thing you can do today? What's the one thing you can do this week? What's the one thing you can do this month, this year, in the next 5-10 years, your whole life? So you reverse engineer your major goals backwards until you figure out what you need to do right now, and you focus, level up, and that's how you become successful. The next one here is this big guy, Poor Charlie's Almanack. Poor Charlie's Almanack, it's basically a book about logic, reason, and common sense, which are the keys to self-improvement, especially now in 2020 and beyond, where the culture is just becoming more nonsensical by the millisecond, it seems like. And basically, some of the frameworks that Munger talks about, I'll actually link to another video where I talk about the idea of mental models, and I picked that up from Munger. And what Munger says is that you want to create a lattice work of mental models. So what does that mean? It means you need to know a little bit about a lot. You should have kind of a freshman college level understanding of important subjects. So math and arithmetic, psychology, economics, biology, politics and culture, history. You should have a base level of knowledge in all those areas, and then you can combine them in different ways and be adaptable. And he talks about the fact that often when he's in meetings and negotiations with people who are kind of highly specialized, super brainy IQ people in their field, he shreds them because he has multidisciplinary knowledge. And he's able to just apply pure reason and common sense to make decisions. So, Charlie Munger, he is Warren Buffett's business partner at Berkshire Hathaway, basically. And kind of their investing philosophy is don't try to be smart, avoid being stupid. Don't look for what would make you successful. Figure out the things that definitely will make you a failure and just avoid doing those things. Half the battle of success is just not being dumb. Just not doing things that you know are going to mess up your life. Things he mentioned, sloth and unreliability, being lazy will mess up your life. Getting into debt, there's that Warren Buffett quote, the quickest way to be poor is to borrow at 18%, right? All of these things that you want to avoid. And then when you see a couple good opportunities that you really understand and can go after, you go after and attack them hard. You spend most of your time saying no, but when you see something that really is a viable opportunity, you go all in. He also in the book talks about, there's a really good chapter called the Psychology of Human Misjudgment, and he goes through 25 different cognitive biases that people have that you can use for your own good to persuade and in some cases manipulate people, or you can be manipulated if you fall prey to those biases. So really the book is about reducing your mental defects and reducing your irrationality. And once you reduce your mental defects, reduce some of your rationality, you're left with kind of clear, lucid thinking. And I think that's kind of the appeal of a lot of the content I put out. It's just very reasonable and kind of common sense, isn't it? It's kind of the things to be true, but in this sea of chaos and outrage, few people ever just tell it to you straight. That's kind of the person that I learned that kind of straightforward, logical approach to life from. So definitely check out Poor Charlie's Almanack. Okay, the video's running a little long here, so I won't dive into a big long 15-point list of best self-improvement books, but I'm going to add one book that I actually think deserves to be on this list, And that is Real Help, an honest guide to self-improvement by Ayodeji Awosika, aka yours truly. And look, I wouldn't say this about every book I've written. This is by far the best book I've put out, times 10, and it's the culmination of everything that I've learned in the past 5 years and implemented and experienced. And you can go visit the page yourself and check out the reviews. These are reviews from people who bought the book well after even my launch period. So like these aren't even the fans that I gave copies to the books for reviews. These are like people who just found the book and bought it. And some of the reviews, I've seen one person said, I've read more than 150 self-improvement books. This might be the best self-help book I've ever read. Go read the reviews. There are multiple people saying the same thing, that they have been kind of reading self-help their whole life. They've been self-improvement junkies. But Real Help is the best self-help book because it hit them right between the eyes. And that's what I attempted to do with the book. I'm trying to hit you right between the eyes and tell you the truth. You know, I tell you why society doesn't want you to succeed. I tell you how no one's coming to save you. I don't paint a rosy picture of the way that the world works. I paint an often cold, brutal, and ruthless picture of the way that the world works, but I want you to understand that so that you can navigate life, you know, with an objective sense of reality. You know, I walk through how to create a fortified mindset to deal with the times. It's really a field guide, a playbook for how to survive in our current times and beyond, and not just survive, but thrive. I break down how to start a side business. I break down how to hustle and make money and invest your money and, you know, iterate and compound your skills. I have a whole chapter walking through exactly how to find your talents and strengths. I give you everything that you need to know. I give you the roadmap for life. And I say with full confidence that I do believe that this is one of the best self-help books that has ever existed, ever. And I need to do a better job of getting out there and promoting it even more because I do think it has a chance to really be a perennial seller. So go check out Real Help, not even just because I wrote it, but because it's a damn good book. Okay, aside from checking out the book, you can take a look in the description and you will see a link to where you can enter your email and actually get a free chapter of the book, which is The Ultimate Guide to Finding Your Strengths, which is going to teach you how to build profitable skills that you can turn into a side business, career, long-term goal, whatever you choose. That resource will help you. Lastly, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what other subjects or books you might want me to talk about. And then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can get brand new videos when they come out. Also, some videos will probably be popping up in front of your face right now. Go check those out. And I will see you on the next video.